everyone, it's Michelle, the Tupperware lady. I wanted to show you our Tupperware hamburger press and keeper set. Oh my gosh. So, show of hands, who has been waiting for this to come out of the Tupper vault? I have. Oh my gosh. And look at this, guys. I already have keepers and stuff, but this isn't enough for me. I am so excited to be able to add to my keeper collection. But let's check this out. Let's look at this. So the set comes with, now yours is going to be red. Yours will have the red seal, and you will have the red collar and the red press. I got mine when we had it out as blue. So, but yours will be red. Right size, wrong color. It's all good. But look at this. It comes with 4 keepers, the collar, and the press, as well as a seal to go over top of them. So if you're not familiar with this idea, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but when I was a kid, you could not buy preformed hamburger patties at the grocery store. They just didn't sell them that way. You bought, we actually called it hamburger meat. You bought the hamburger meat, at least that's what my parents called it. You bought the hamburger meat, and then we all had the nice stacks of Tupperware hamburger keepers, and we just made our own hamburger patties, and we put stacks of them into the freezer. So whenever you were ready to make hamburgers, you just took out however many keepers, however many hamburger patties you wanted, and they went onto the grill or onto the stove or onto the, however you were cooking your hamburger patties. And that's what we did. So now, this is 2021, and you may be thinking, why do I need a hamburger press? Because I buy hamburger patties already made at the grocery store. Okay, well, first of all, guys, those hamburger patties that you buy at the grocery store, they're small. I mean, let's face it, they're small. There is nothing like biting into a nice, big, thick patty that you have made yourself. Am I right? Of course I am. So you can make your own thicker. You can use the same amount of ground beef if you want, but they'll be thicker when you make them yourself. Or the selling point, if you want to call it that, for my husband and I is we like, first of all, we like to know what's in our food. That's number one. But number two is, do you ever see those gourmet burgers at the grocery store? They're back in the meat department, and they might say beef and cheddar, or they might say Italian, or black pepper, or whatever. It's already made up hamburger patties, and they've added all sorts of good stuff in. Well, you guys, those things are stinking expensive. You can get ground beef for like $2.98 a pound. If you get the already made up, we call them gourmet burgers, back at the meat counter, you're paying anywhere between $7.99 and $10.99 a pound, depending on where you shop and what the additives are in. I'm not paying for that, especially since when you get them home and cook them, you better know where you've put each burger, because unless it actually has cheese in it that you can see, they're really not that flavorful. I personally think you're paying for the idea of having a gourmet burger, but the flavors just don't really come through. So I personally like to make my own at home. It's way cheaper. I know the ingredients going in, so if you need to be gluten-free, like for instance, you know that the spices that I put in are not going to have gluten in them, and I can add as much or as little as I want so I can taste it. Added bonus, if I make them ahead and pop them in the freezer, the longer they sit, the more intense that flavor is, and they are just delicious burgers. So, let's make some right now. We're not going to I'll make you sit here and watch me fill up all of these. But I have just 1 pound of ground beef. And what I'm making, guys, is I am just making, they're Greek burgers. They have all sorts of Greek seasoning inside. So I've got 1 pound of ground beef. I have got about 4 ounces of feta. This is a 6-ounce container, but I've used some of it out of it. So there's, 4 ounces left in there. That works. I am going to put in about a tablespoon of oregano. You guys, this is one of our dry counterscaping containers. Do you have one? Do you see that it has this really cool little spoon inside the handle? This little spoon holds about a teaspoon and a half. So I want a tablespoon of oregano, so I'm going to do 2 teaspoons full. Awesome. And back it goes. All right, so there's that. I need, let's do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, if you have got like a little bit of fattier, let's say maybe you've got 80-20, hang on, If you've got like 80-20 or 70-30 ground beef, you probably don't need to add any oil to it. And in fact, I'm truly not going to add the whole 2 tablespoons. I'm only going to add 1. But if you've got like 90-10, yeah, go ahead and add some olive oil. It's a healthy oil, and it's just going to make your hamburger a little bit more flavorful. And then I am going to use the juice of 1 lemon in here. So it's going to go into my zest and press. Now, your zest and press is black. This is one of my most used gadgets in the kitchen. I love it. Do you have one of these? If you don't, so when you're juicing something, normally you're used to going like this. This, we're going to actually put it cut side down, and the part that you think that you're going to twist on, no, what we're going to do is we're going to turn that lemon inside out to get all the juice out, which is awesome. Look at all that juice coming out. So easy. Just like that. And then it has been turned inside out. Ha! And it's collected the seeds. Can you see that? It's collected the seeds down inside. I use this so much. All right. And that is, oh wait, how about a little bit of garlic? It's Greek. I need a little bit of garlic in here, right? So let's get some garlic. A little bit of garlic. Just use my spoon here to get the last bit out. All right. Okay, mix them up. Now, there's no rocket science to this. The question was asked, how big can your patties be in our keeper? So, the typical patty, like what you buy in the grocery store, is a 1/4 pound. You can also do, our preference is 1/3 of a pound. You can do a 1/2 pound, an 8-ounce burger, but after I get some going here, I'm going to show you something with that. Okay, so these are pretty well mixed up. In my house, Paul and I like the 1/3 pound burgers. So this was 1 pound of ground beef, not rocket science. I would just divide this into 3. But I'm going to tell you what, I've added some cheese into it, so it's made it, you know, a little bit bulkier, if you want to call it that. So my guess is I am probably going to get 4 patties out of here. Now, you do not have to make these into balls. Absolutely not. You don't have to do that. I do it because, you know, we joke about my OCD. I kind of like to have them the same size. So I'm just going to quick make them up real, like little balls like this, just to see how much I have, if they're all going to be the same size. So I can tell you that first one I made was pretty big. So it looks like I'm actually going to get 4 of them out of here. Choop, choop, choop. You can measure if you wish to. I don't do that. I'm one of those people who kind of goes, okay, this one's a little bit heavier, but it's okay. Okay. Get you up there. Okay, so those patties are ready. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take one of the keepers. The seal off. We call this the collar. The collar goes inside just to keep it nice and clean on the edges. So the collar goes inside. You are going to put one of your meatballs or one of your chunks of meat. You can just dump it in here. Just plop it in just like that. And all you are going to do is you are going to use a nice firm pressure to press it down just to make a nice patty. Now let me give you a little tip. I personally do a little twist, just like this, and the reason I do that is because I want it to fill up the whole entire section so that when I take the collar off, check it out, look at how nice and professional and neat that looks. So when we're going to make them on the grill, and if anybody's over for dinner, they're going to go, oh my gosh, that looks like you bought it at the grocery store. Yeah, it does. Only it's going to taste better because the flavors are going to be, it's going to be so much more flavorful. So you guys, there's one. Now, I got 4 burgers out of that, but I'm going to tell you, this is a little bit more than 1/4 of a pound. I don't have my scale out, or else I would weigh it for you so you could actually see what it is. Now, let me show you something. We're about to do another one. So here's number 2, but look at the bottom of this. do you see that ridge in the bottom? It's kind of like the cover of, or the edge of one of our bowls. This actually is going to become the seal for the one that I already have made. So check it out. I'm not going to make you watch me do all of these, but I do want you to see this one. So let's do the next one. And yep, I could just squish it down if I wanted to. See, it would be a perfectly acceptable hamburger. But I want to just twist it a little bit so that I know that it's going to be nice and round and filled up and look like maybe I got it at the grocery store. Little hacks. So, okay, so now I have two of them, guys. So I am going to take this one and I'm going to use just a gentle pressure to get it on top of the other one, just like this. So this one is the seal for that one. I'll stack up however many I want to stack up, but then at the end, I'm going to take the seal, the real seal, and cover up the top one. And into the freezer they're going to go, and you pull out however many you want. Now there's two of us, there's Paul and I. We typically cook 4 burgers at a time. So me personally, I make stacks of 4. So I can just, pull out a stack, let them thaw out, and there you go. Now, the question was, can we do an 8-ounce burger? Sure you can. But do you notice? It didn't touch. When I covered with the other keeper, it didn't touch the burger below it. If I had filled this with 8 ounces with a half a pound, it would have used up all of the space, which is fine, but there wouldn't have been any room for expansion. Now remember, when you freeze, things expand, right? So what you would have had to have done is, if I wanted this to be an 8-ounce burger, I would have stuck my thumb down the middle and made a hole in the middle so that there's room for expansion as it freezes. The reason why is if you don't, let me put the covers back on so you can see, if you weren't to have done that, there would have been no extra room in here because it would have been an 8-ounce burger. When you went to the freezer to get them out, you might have noticed that it had puffed up a little bit like that, and it was no longer sealed because it still has to expand when it freezes. So personally, I don't do more than 1/3 of a pound when I am making my burgers for the freezer. Now, what if I'm not putting them in the freezer? I just want gorgeous, beautiful burgers to put out on the grill tonight. Oh, absolutely. Then I'm going to put however much I want. Put however much I want in there. And I'm going to make great, big, huge, fat burgers. And there we go, ready for the grill. In fact, here's a true story secret. Sometimes my husband, when he's making the big, fat burgers like that to go on the grill, he doesn't even use the keeper. He just puts them on the cutting board. There he is. He's got a whole cutting board full of really nice sized hamburgers. So there you go, guys. This is the hamburger press. And the hamburger press comes with 4 keepers. You can also buy an additional 4 keepers if you like, if you just want more, because you guys are going to want more. Or if there's you already have the set so that you know that you need more. There's other things that you can do, and we are going to look at other things this week. I like to make my own sausage patties. I buy ground pork, and I make my own sausage patties for breakfast. Those I only do about 1/4 of a pound because, that's a lot of sausage. We also, for my daughter, I like to make black bean burgers. We will make black bean burgers in here, so it's actually going to look like a patty when we're done. So we're going to keep looking at this week. I just wanted to show you how I make Greek burgers and a little bit on how they are. So there you go. I will talk to you guys later.